Welcome to another episode, everyone. Compton Pyro, Big Jake, his death, his murder ignited the East Coast versus West Coast war. It was a war that went on for a little while. This individual was connected to Suge Knight. They went to a little get together, a little club, a little party. He ended up murdered, and the war kicked off. This is Warren Cali.
Big Jake was born Jake Robles in 1969. He would grow up in Compton, California, around the Campanella Park community, which is a Piru hood. Jake developed a major reputation in his community and was highly respected amongst his peers. His street activity led to a life of crime. Jake was first arrested for robbery at the age of 17 in 1987, and the arrest is something that continued. In 1988, he was arrested for drugs. In 89, he was arrested for stolen property and a parole violation in 1990. In 1991, he was arrested for a felon in possession of a firearm that got him 16 months. By the early 90s, Death Row Records headed by Suge Knight began to take off and become a major force. Suge growing up in Compton himself, he affiliated himself with the Pirus, and Big Jake was one of his closest friends. Jake was known to make money in the streets on his own, but with all the money that Death Row was beginning to generate, he was all in. He started managing artists and playing his role in the early days of Death Row, even playing enforcer and bodyguard for Suge. He appeared in a film called Dead Homies, detailing him and also his neighborhood.
I'm just gonna kick a little something. Everybody wanna know why people bang, why people kill, why people do this, sell dope. And you can't just look at the individuals, because you have to look at the environment that they set in that creates these conditions for them to have to live and do the things that they do. And so we just kicking it like that. We ain't out here essing on our chest, but it's like everybody out here want to be a tough guy, killer, a gangster, you understand? But most of the killers and gangsters I know either got all day or dead. So everybody out here just living. So, we kicking it from that perspective. It wasn't like no peer pressure thing, why I'm just jumping on the bandwagon. I'm going to do this because all the homeboys doing it. My thing is like, growing up in a certain neighborhood, you have altercations with people that grew up on another part of a certain neighborhood, and you grow up and it's affiliation through association. And then coming up with that, what I'm saying, my mama just happened to have her house on the side where the red team was at. So there it is right there. And in doing that, you growing up, doing everything out in the streets, from murder, money, violence to sex. And the out of town, going out of town with the doing your work and all of this, that's all been done. You know what I'm saying? It's 94. You gotta have a new twist with things. I did a year juvenile. You know what I'm saying? 4.5 years in the state penitentiary. I done been to damn near all of them. Folsom, Quentin, Soledad. Jamestown, Solano, Vacaville. On tour. So as far as like all the negatives I've seen. Now, in my life at this point, I'm making a transition to do positive things and to, try to alleviate a lot of the bullshit that's going on out here in the streets with these youngsters that ain't knowing.
As the years went on, Death Row Records became more successful. Jake's Row Group.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. Growing up in the hood, we all end up going through the same trials and tribulations. All of us go through the same thing. Death, destruction, violence, and the penitentiary. The man just read off a list as long as your arm of the prisons that he has frequented. And when you go inside of these prisons and you live this kind of life, it hardens you, man. But he's clearly, Big Jake here from Compton Pyro, clearly a strong and intelligent individual who's looking to get out of the situation that he was in, looking to get out of the street. But then something went terribly wrong when he headed out to New York, if you will, with Suge or what have you, and they were in this club or whatever, and he ends up dead.
Bigger, and he was basically Suge's right-hand man. By September 23rd of 95, Suge was in Atlanta with Big Jake. Suge usually has a big entourage, but that night, it was just him and Jake, and they attended Jermaine Dupri's birthday party, which was at an Atlanta nightclub. Diddy was also there and had a large crew of people with him.
Okay, so they were in Atlanta at a Jermaine Dupri party or what have you in Atlanta, and here's Puff Daddy, he's there with his entourage. He's there with the whole crew. This East Coast, West Coast whole thing. And it goes bad.
A month before, in August of '95, Suge did his infamous speech against Diddy.
I want to be an artist and want to stay a star. I don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
I'm the executive producer that a comment was made about a little bit earlier. But check this out. Contrary to what other people may feel, I would like to say that I'm very proud of Dr. Dre, of Death Row, and Suge Knight for their accomplishments. And all this East and West that needs to stop.
Allegedly, Suge came into the party throwing his muscle and power around. There's several different reports from different interviews of what occurred over the years. Some stated Suge was pressing people, and even some stated he slapped Diddy and Jermaine Dupri. But this is all different narratives and different interviews and viewpoints, so anybody could be lying.
Yeah, and we've all heard those narratives about what went on that night at this party in question. Some, again, say that Suge Knight went in there aggressive because he had already made the comments at the awards about the East Coast and about P. Diddy and what have you. Snoop Dogg had something to say as well at that same show, and there's already tension there. And so reportedly, Suge Knight went in there aggressive, being strong, the boss, looking for some funk, looking for some smoke, looking to push his weight. Reportedly. There are other stories, of course, that Suge Knight just went in there and was just enjoying himself and enjoying the time, and then things went bad.
And off-duty police stated he seen Suge and Jake getting into it with at least 6 Bad Boy members. The officer stated it seemed to start over a woman, and this later led to pushing and shoving. The altercation spilled outside where Suge and Jake were reportedly leaving, before shots at the end of the night were fired. As the night ended, Jake was laid out with 3 bullets in him, which he later died from.
And then you seen him standing there and he was shooting Jake. And I was standing right next to Jake, but being that I knew who the shooter was, I knew he wasn't gonna miss. And he was just close enough to handle what he was doing. So I sat there and I looked and I was watching and I saw him do it and I saw him leave. But
what? You said something about in the book you talked about he was like looking at Suge like you're next.
Yeah, he was looking when he was shooting Jake, he was looking at Suge to say, this should have been you. But he couldn't shoot Suge because Suge had grabbed Puff and he had Puff in like a chokehold in front of him. So as the guy was shooting, he couldn't shoot Suge because he would have shot Puff.
Many rumors speculate who murdered Jake. Some state Diddy's bodyguard.
Yeah, right. Many rumors about who put this off. But whoever it was clearly somewhere else. It was not in California. It was Atlanta. This is an individual that is a gang member from California. But, per normal, you can make the argument that Suge didn't have proper security, that he was out there slipping, if you will, knowing how strong he portrayed himself to be and how he was so aggressive in the industry to go out there to Atlanta. You probably think, well, Atlanta's not New York, this, that, and the other, but still, it's not Chicago, it's not Detroit, it's Atlanta. But you don't know what's going on. P. Diddy is there with his crew. And look at what ends up happening. Yeah, the bullets were meant for Suge Knight. Clearly, they don't have beef with Big Jake. For Pyro, he may have been there arguing with these individuals, and they said that an argument ensued over a female. Whatever. He may have been there arguing with them, having Suge's back and being tough. He's a big dude as well, as we can see. But he may have became a target in the moment, depending on what he said and did in the moment, where they said, get him. But for the most part, they were coming for Suge. They were after Suge. Whoever the shooter was wanted to take Suge Knight out, more than likely. And that's what he just said as well, but that they couldn't even shoot Suge. They couldn't get to Suge. He's using P. Diddy as a human shield. So Big Jake ends up losing his life, really on a humbug almost.
Wolf, who was eventually killed 8 years later in 2003.
Yeah, the story is that Big Jake got killed by Wolf, who was Puff's main bodyguard. Right. Wolf is dead as well, so, right. We're not, implicating anyone by statements like this. But, after it happened, the story was that Suge was blaming, since one of Puff's guys allegedly killed his man, he kind of blamed Puff for that. And, one thing started to lead to another. Blame for it and so forth. But I guess Wolf wasn't the one who did it, but still there was some sort of blame that Suge had on Bad Boy over that situation, right?
I don't know if Suge had blamed Bad Boy for that because the situation never came, when I got with him, the situation never came to us like that. Now, I've heard Wolf talk about it, and Wolf told me personally that he didn't do it.
Jake's death was the official fall-off.
Well, who the hell did it then? So no one was arrested for it. But as I've told you many times before, here on the Inside Story with me, Damian Porter, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. 43% of the murders in the country go unsolved. And when it comes to black people, the number is inflated. The number is increased. The number is in the 70s of the murders of black people, black men and women, that go unsolved. So perhaps then it should not be a surprise that they never caught the individual responsible for the 3 shots put into Compton Pyru Big Jake. He's apparently still free because you can kill a black man in this country and get away with it.
And no comeback for anything affiliated with Death Row and Bad Boy Records. And this eventually led to the death of both Biggie and Tupac, making this the deadliest beef in music history. Jake was 26 years old when he died, and his death is still a mystery on who 100% did it, with so many different accounts of that night.
Yeah.
Because I don't think everybody be sincere about, putting this gang thing behind us. And I know a lot of people been killed behind it, a lot of lives been taken, But my thing be like this. People want to be gangsters, they want to put work in, want to do this, but you can go around the corner and just shoot up 3 or 4 black men. The sheriffs get behind you. You got 2 AKs in the car, 4 Tech 9s, 10 pistols, and they tell you to freeze your stop. You understand? They only 2 individuals with 2 guns. You just went shot 4 or 5 blacks up, but you freeze when they tell you. I'm saying if you're a gangster, sell the ranch, grandma, grandpa, the chickens, everything. If you're going out with bullets and gun smoke, don't just stop with yours. You understand me? Deal with it on that level if that's what you're doing. If you're not, get out the way. Let somebody else that is. Quit perpetrating.
Wow. Right. Exactly. In this video, he was unalive in 1995. So clearly that video, that footage is from at least that time. But even back then, individuals were thinking like this. They were talking like this about getting out of gangs, staying out of gangs. We knew even back then that this was not the way to go. We were just wrapped up in the lifestyle, and it was hard to get out. And that's why this generation now, Big Jake would essentially be in this generation here that I'm in, needs to get out of it and needs to do the work to help undo the damage that we've done in the community and in the culture. That's the bottom line. Rest in peace to that brother, Big Jake. As we can see, no one has been arrested for it. They were accusing P. Diddy's bodyguard, who's now deceased himself, Big Wolf, of the unaliving. But whoever it was, they clearly got away. But Big Jake lost his life, and that did indeed spark a beef, and it went back and forth, and people lost their lives, and it's a bad situation. It's a sad situation, not something that we want. Big Jake just said it all. Brothers out here killing one another constantly, but then just don't have the same energy for anyone else. It's disheartening and it's sickening, and it needs to stop. This talk that has been going. This is talk that has been going on for some time. This video footage where Big Jake was speaking on this is over 30 years old. And this is how he was feeling then. People have been feeling this way and been saying these sort of things, but yet the mayhem and the destruction in the community continues. We have to find a better way, and we have to do it now. We have to put the weapons down and stop taking one another's lives. That's the bottom line. I was sad, man, really. He was 26 years old. He was young. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe. Shout out to Warren Cali. And stay free, people.